Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Smackdown review. And tonight's Smackdown was from the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I gotta say, tonight's Smackdown, I thought it was a good show. I enjoyed Smackdown tonight. We had surprises tonight. But all in all, Smackdown, I thought it was a good show. And before I start the review, I just want to say that I did see Fighting with My Family today, and there will be a movie review of it tomorrow, so be on the lookout for my review of that. So yeah, so let's get on with the Smackdown review. So Smackdown opened up tonight with the contract signing between Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston, their match at FastLane for the WWE Championship. So we had Stephanie McMahon, Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan, and Rowan in the ring. And, Kofi chants start breaking out. This whole Kofi mania that, people are calling. But Shane says, when Kofi debuted, we got to know this charismatic superstar, saying that, he was entertaining audiences around the world, and, audiences with his, with him, doing the feat in the Rumble, with his bouncing in the Rumble matches, which are really awesome. They never get old. And he goes on to say that Kofi has been the Intercontinental Champion numerous times, as well as the United States Champion. And he goes on to say that he is also a part of the New Day, of course. So they're basically, he's basically just talking about Kofi. And Stephanie goes on to say that Kofi was a last-minute substitute in the Gauntlet match, which he was in for almost an hour, which that sort of like kicked off, the Kofi Mania, saying that hashtag Kofi Mania thing that people are, starting on social media. And Stephanie also talks about when Kofi nearly defeated Daniel Bryan in the Elimination Chamber. And Stephanie says, last week on SmackDown, Kofi defeated Daniel Bryan in a 6-man tag team match. And so then we had, Shane then introduced Kofi Kingston. The New Day ended up coming out. Xavier Woods, Kofi, and Big E. And Kofi gets on the mic and says, 11 years... all he wanted was a chance. And after all those years, it's happening. And I can't believe that Kofi's been in WWE for 11 years. I remember when he debuted, he had that Jamaican accent with the Jamaican music that he came out to, that SOS. But man, I can't believe it's been 11 years, like I said. Since Kofi has been in the WWE. And Kofi goes on to say that this moment wouldn't be possible if it weren't for his brothers. Of course, he's talking about the New Day, his brothers, Xavier and Big E. He also goes on to say that none of this would have been possible if it weren't for the WWE Universe, and that we made all this happen. And Kofi says that at FastLane, he's going to do what everyone wants to see him do for a long time. And that is to beat Daniel Bryan and become the WWE Champion. And so we see Daniel Bryan then signs the contract. Daniel Bryan didn't say anything during this whole contract signing. He was just silent. And... like I said, Daniel Bryan ended up signing the contract, and Kofi was ready to sign the contract when it got interrupted by Vince McMahon. So Vince comes out and he says to Kofi that before the contract is official, and he ends up, telling Kofi that he has accomplished, that he liked everything that Kofi did for, the past 11 years. And he goes on to say that, however, Vince says to Kofi, however, he says to Kofi that he is replacing Kofi. So it's not going to be Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship at FastLane. So Vince says he's replacing Kofi with the man that is more deserving as Kofi, more qualified as him. And so Vince ends up announcing Kofi's replacement. And that guy is none other than Kevin Owens. Yes, Kevin Owens returned tonight. And it was good seeing him. Finally, Owens has made his return after the injury that he had. Looks good. He lost a lot of weight. And, as we saw in those promos that, he was cutting from the phone and spending time with his family. So, yeah, so Kevin Owens is going to be Kofi's replacement. And so we then see, Kevin Owens signs the contract. So it was official. It's going to be Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship at FastLane. But you know what Vince did, right? This just made Kofi be a much bigger babyface. So this now explains that Kofi is going to have a match at WrestleMania. He's going to win the title. And then the New Day are going to turn on Kofi. A lot of people, I heard rumors saying that in articles, that it's going to be Big E who's going to turn on Kofi. So that's the rumor that I heard from articles. But that's what I hear that WWE is possibly wanting to do. So, but yeah, so Kofi is going to get his big moment at WrestleMania. So, but it was a good opening to SmackDown with the contract signing, and then Kevin Owens returning. That was shocking. I did not see this coming because I thought WWE was going to hold off Kevin Owens for a few more months. But it was shocking that he made his return tonight. So it was unexpected, in my opinion. And then when SmackDown came back from the commercial, we saw Kevin Owens backstage with Stephanie and Shane. Kevin Owens tells them how much Vince has appreciated him, and he ends up telling both of them that what he wants to do tonight is that he wants to team with Kofi to take on Daniel Bryan and Rowan. And Stephanie ends up telling him they'll take it into consideration. So that's what happened backstage. And then we had the first match, a tag team match. It was Cesaro and Sheamus versus the Hardy Boys. Yes, Matt Hardy made his return tonight after months of being out. Last time we saw Matt Hardy, he was on Raw. He was tagging with Bray Wyatt. They were the Raw Tag Team Champions. And so, Matt Hardy, he had some time off, and he returned tonight, which was shocking. I did not see this coming also. So we had two big surprises tonight: Kevin Owens returning and Matt Hardy returning. So it was Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy. They were there. They were taking on Cesaro and Sheamus, and the match itself, it was very entertaining. The Hardy Boys, both Jeff and Matt, it was good seeing them, tag teaming again. They worked really good on Cesaro and Sheamus. The wrestling here in this match was great. And in the end of the match, the Hardy Boys end up picking up the win. Matt Hardy ended up hitting the Twist of Fate to Sheamus, followed by Jeff Hardy going up to the top, hitting the Swanton Bomb on Sheamus. So the Hardy Boys end up winning. So, but all in all, it was a good match. It was an entertaining match between the Hardys and Cesaro and Sheamus. But like I said, it was good seeing Matt and Jeff again. And then after the match, we had Aleister Black and Ricochet backstage. They were talking about their strategy for when they take on Nakamura and Rusev tonight. And Lana ends up coming. And she ends up saying that she doesn't know what the fuss is about. That Aleister Black and Ricochet are nothing special and quite ordinary. She goes on to say that they're just two opponents that are going to get crushed. And so Ricochet ends up saying that they beat the Revival on Raw. But he goes on to say, but you know, that's okay. He loves how people who tell him that he's nothing special, and he proves them wrong. And Aleister Black says he gets it. Lana fears the unknown, but the only thing that she needs to know about him is written on his flesh. And he says, tonight, Rusev and Nakamura will fade to black. And so that was the backstage promo from Aleister Black and Ricochet and Lana. I should say backstage segment. But yeah, so that was it. So they're taking on Aleister Black and Ricochet are taking on Nakamura and Rusev. And then we saw the Honky Tonk Man Hall of Fame induction video package. It was announced earlier this morning. I think CBS Sports broke it out that the Honky Tonk Man is the next to go into the 2019 WWE Hall of Fame. And that's pretty cool. So it's good that the Honky Tonk Man is going into the Hall of Fame. A legend. And so then we had, after that, we had R-Truth and Carmella. They were both in the ring. R-Truth says since he was a young kid, he always wanted to be like his hero, John Cena. And so Truth says he's going to follow in Cena's footsteps by issuing a United States Championship Open Challenge. And Carmella says the match will start after a 7-second dance break. So they do the 7-second dance break. And then we had Andrade Cien Almas come out. So it was Andrade coming out with Zelina Vega. Then Rey Mysterio's music hits. Rey Mysterio comes out, attacks Andrade Cien Almas from behind. And so both Rey Mysterio and Andrade are in the ring. And R-Truth says, can we all just get along? He goes on to say that he's having a crossroads. And he doesn't know who to face right now. And so he asks, what would John Cena do in this situation? Carmella ends up saying that Cena would fight both of them. And so R-Truth says he's going to make John Cena proud by facing both Andrade Cien Almas and Rey Mysterio. And so it got turned into a triple threat match for the United States Championship. And so, you know, then it was R-Truth versus Andrade Cien Almas and versus Rey Mysterio. Triple threat match for the United States Championship. In this match, it was decent. It was back and forth between them. Andrade and Rey Mysterio Of course, they were good in the match. They were very entertaining. Really like their rivalry. Really enjoying their rivalry, Andrade and Mysterio. But R-Truth ended up getting the win. He ended up rolling up Rey Mysterio because Rey Mysterio ended up planting Andrade and R-Truth on the the middle rope, so Mysterio could do his 619. Mysterio ended up getting the 619 on Andrade because R-Truth moved out of the way, and pretty much after that, that's what basically led to R-Truth rolling up Rey Mysterio. So R-Truth still retains the United States Championship. And so after the match, we saw Andrade Cien Almas end up attacking Rey Mysterio. Andrade was going to go for the hammerlock DDT on Rey Mysterio, but Rey ended up countering it. Ended up knocking Andrade Cien Almas into the middle rope, so he could do the 619. So Mysterio could do the 619. Mysterio was going for it, but Andrade ended up retreating out of the ring. Wanted nothing to do with Mysterio. Oh yeah, the triple threat match, like I said, between R-Truth, Andrade, Cien Almas, and Rey Mysterio, it was a decent match. Then after that, we had Charlotte coming out, basically in her hometown. So Charlotte ends up coming out, and she talks about how Vince made the main event of FastLane even better. By putting by removing Kofi and putting in Kevin Owens. And she goes on to say that that was almost as important as when Vince put her into the main event of WrestleMania against Ronda Rousey. She goes on to say that she does exactly what is asked for her, unlike Becky Lynch or Ronda Rousey. And she goes on to say that she always delivers, whether it's media, charity, live events, or the main event. She says she's the gold standard. She goes on to say that she would never have laid down the title when she was champion. And she goes on to say that Becky and Ronda are afraid of her. And she goes on to say, fear makes you do irrational things, and Becky fears exposed, while Ronda fears getting another beatdown at Survivor Series. And she goes on to say that Ronda has some thoughts on what a true champion is. And Charlotte ended up running a clip of what of her saying what she did. And Charlotte and Ronda, agreed on this. And she says the difference is she'll never quit. And she'll never lay the title down. That's what Charlotte is saying. She goes on to say that she's the true champion. And so Charlotte makes an announcement saying that next Monday she will be on Raw. So Vince can crown her the new Raw Women's Champion. So yeah, so we're going to get Charlotte on Raw next Monday. So yeah, and that was the segment from Charlotte. So I mean, there's an okay segment from Charlotte. And then we had Aleister Black and Ricochet versus Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura tag team match. This was a decent match, very entertaining. Aleister Black and Ricochet, still a tag team. They were taking on Rusev and Nakamura, which Nakamura has been used. They're having him, be in catering or whatever. The WWE is now using Nakamura. So at the end of the match, you had Nakamura. He was setting up to go for the Kinshasa to Aleister Black, but Aleister ended up getting up and hitting the Black Mass to Nakamura. pinning Nakamura. So Aleister Black and Ricochet end up winning the match. So, all in all, decent match. Then we had Kayla Braxton. She was interviewing AJ Styles. And Styles goes on to say that he is happy to hear, Roman Reigns is in remission. And Kayla asks Styles, how is he moving forward? Because people are saying that, Styles is in a slump. And so Styles says he gets it. He's his harshest critic, as he says. He goes on to say nothing can be said that he hasn't already asked himself. Styles goes on to say that he sets the standards for himself, and anything less than perfection is a disappointment. And he goes on, and he says he keeps pushing for the best. He blames himself for the rise of Daniel Bryan because he had an opportunity to stop it and he didn't succeed. And he goes on to say, it doesn't mean that, he's going to stop trying, though. He goes, perhaps you've forgotten how long, it took him to get to WWE. And he says he's going to stop listening to the critics, pick himself up, dust himself off, and keep fighting to justify his claim that SmackDown is the house that AJ Styles built. And so Randy Orton ends up coming up to him, and he claims, Randy Orton, claims that he built this place, before, he ended up walking off. So that's what Orton said to Styles. But it was a decent interview with Styles. And then we had Lacey Evans, of course, coming out doing the waves to the people. Walks down the ramp, stops there, and then walks back up the ramp to the back, waving. That's all we're getting from Lacey Evans. Can we get her in the ring already? Well, the only time that she was in the ring was at the Royal Rumble, in the Women's Royal Rumble match. That was the only time that she was in the ring. Oh yeah, can we get Lacey Evans in the match already? Instead of her coming out every single week, waving like that with a smile on her face, and walking down the ramp, and then walking back up, smiling like that. I mean, come on. Then we had the main event. Kevin Owens and Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan and Rowan. Tag team match. Very entertaining match. It was good seeing Kevin Owens back, in the ring. He didn't have no ring rust that was shown in this match, and he moved pretty good. And Kofi, of course, was entertaining. The crowd was behind him. And the end of the match, Kevin Owens ended up using the stunner, ended up stunning Daniel Bryan. Kevin Owens went for the pin on Daniel Bryan. And so Kofi Kingston and Kevin Owens end up winning the match. But yeah, it was a entertaining match. Like I said, between Owens and Kofi Kingston. Like I said, really glad to see Kevin Owens back in the ring. So yeah, and that was SmackDown tonight. So yeah, so anyways, that's it for my review of tonight's edition of SmackDown. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And definitely give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And I will see you all back here tomorrow with the movie review of Fighting with My Family. So until that video, I'll see you all back here tomorrow.